Tonight, breaking news as we come on the air in the West. The gunman opening fire from a hotel balcony at a Four Seasons. Also election night, 1 week from tonight. Kamala Harris had her major speech just a short time ago. Her closing pitch tonight to voters, to Republicans and independents. And Donald Trump and what he told our reporter about those jokes about Puerto Ricans and Latinos. And we remember a beloved actress tonight, Teri Garr. First tonight, the race for the White House. 1 week left. More than 51 million Americans already voting early. Tonight, Donald Trump, what he told our reporter after those jokes about Latinos and Puerto Ricans, a comedian calling Puerto Rico an island of garbage at Trump's rally in Madison Square Garden. Trump today calling the rally, quote, an absolute love fest. And tonight, tens of thousands now gathering to hear Vice President Kamala Harris deliver her closing argument in front of the White House from the same place Donald Trump spoke from on January 6th. Her pitch to Republicans and independents with 1 week to go. Also tonight, those alarming images coming in at this hour. A gunman barricaded inside a room on the 33rd floor of the Four Seasons in Atlanta. The suspect throwing objects off the balcony, then opening fire. Police telling people to shelter in place were on the scene. Overseas tonight, the disturbing scene in northern Gaza. An Israeli airstrike leveling a 5-story building housing displaced civilians. More than 90 people killed, including children. One of the deadliest strikes now in this war. Back here in the U.S. tonight, in the Hamptons on Long Island, the murder at a spa resort, the woman found in a guest room. The Delta flight aborting takeoff, the smoke scene pouring from one of the engines. The daring rescue at sea, a father and two sons found after clinging to their capsized boat for hours. The growing concern tonight over fires in the Northeast, one of the driest Octobers on record. The fires already in Massachusetts. And now a Halloween near 80 degrees in New York City. Tonight, McDonald's CEO now apologizing after the deadly E. coli outbreak, what he's saying. And the tributes pouring in tonight for actress Teri Garr. From Young Frankenstein to Close Encounters of the Third Kind, from Mr. Mom to Tootsie.
I am a professional actress.
We look back tonight at her most famous roles.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. It is great to have you with us here on a very busy Tuesday night. We begin tonight with the race for the White House. 1 week from tonight, we'll be on the air right here with our election night coverage. We hope you'll join us all night, but we all have 7 days to get through before then. Tonight, more than 51 million Americans have voted already, and this evening, both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris are making news. Vice President Harris speaking tonight on the Ellipse right near the White House, the same place where former President Trump spoke on January 6th, just before the attack on the Capitol. Tonight, her pitch to Republicans and independents who she hopes want to turn the page, her promise to them. Tens of thousands joining the crowd to hear the vice president speak. And tonight, this image of Harris going over her speech, knowing this race is very close. Meantime, former President Trump tonight in Allentown, Pennsylvania, a must-win state for both Trump and Harris, and a state that is home to nearly 500,000 Puerto Ricans. And what Trump told our reporter today about those jokes about Latinos and about Puerto Rico at his rally at Madison Square Garden. A comedian invited by the Trump campaign calling Puerto Rico an island of garbage. And what he then said about Latinos and babies. Rachel Scott with what Donald Trump told her today about all of this. But first tonight, Mary Bruce with the vice president's closing argument tonight. The vice president's major speech outside the White House with just 1 week to go. And this race a dead heat.
Tonight, before a crowd of tens of thousands, Vice President Kamala Harris delivering her closing argument with Election Day now just 1 week away.
This election is more than just a choice between two parties and two different candidates. It is a choice about whether we have a country rooted in freedom for every American or ruled by chaos and division.
Her location tonight, no accident. Harris speaking on the Ellipse, the exact same site where Donald Trump addressed his supporters before they attacked the Capitol on January 6th.
And we fight. We fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. And after this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down. We're going to walk down anyone you want, but I think right here, we're going to walk down to the Capitol.
Tonight, Harris outlining the contrast between her and Trump.
We know who Donald Trump is. He is the person who stood at this very spot nearly 4 years ago and sent an armed mob to the United States Capitol to overturn the will of the people in a free and fair election.
Harris tonight arguing Trump's priorities for a second term are clear.
Donald Trump intends to use the United States military against American citizens who simply disagree with him. People he calls, quote, the enemy from within. America, this is not a candidate for president who is thinking about how to make your life better. This is someone who is unstable, obsessed with revenge, consumed with grievance, and out for unchecked power.
In the final days of this campaign, Harris making an aggressive push to reach out to independents and Republicans who are reluctant to back Trump, key voters who could determine this race.
Unlike Donald Trump, I don't believe people who disagree with me are the enemy. He wants to put them in jail. I'll give them a seat at the table. I pledge to you to approach my work with the joy and optimism that comes from making a difference in people's lives. And I pledge to be a president for all Americans.
Harris here tonight isn't just hammering home what's at stake in this race. She is also pitching her plans for the future, pitting her vision for the presidency directly against Donald Trump's. It's a message she will now carry forward as she crisscrosses the key states in this final sprint, David.
Mary Bruce leading us off here tonight. Mary, thank you. Meantime, Donald Trump in Allentown, Pennsylvania tonight, a must-win battleground state, really for both campaigns. And what Donald Trump said today after those jokes about Latinos and about Puerto Rico at his rally at Madison Square Garden. Rachel Scott on the Trump campaign from Pennsylvania tonight.
Tonight, even as his campaign grapples with the fallout from his massive rally at Madison Square Garden, Donald Trump can't stop talking about it, describing it today as a love fest.
I don't think anybody has ever seen anything like what happened the other night at Madison Square Garden. The love in that room. It was breathtaking.
But tonight, some Trump allies concerned about the racism and sexism on display from some of the speakers, including this comment about Puerto Rico.
I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah, I think it's called Puerto Rico.
That speaker, invited by the Trump campaign, also making crude remarks about black people and watermelons and taking this shot at Latinos overall.
And these Latinos, they love making babies too, just know that. They do. They do.
The rest of those words too profane to play. And he wasn't the only invited speaker using racist language. Tucker Carlson mocking Kamala Harris, the first black and South Asian vice president.
Votes because she's just so impressive. As the first Samoan, Malaysian, low IQ, former California prosecutor ever to be elected president.
Today, the former president said it was an honor for him to be involved.
It was like a love fest, an absolute love fest, and it was my honor to be involved.
Earlier today, I spoke with Trump and asked him about the speaker his campaign invited, who called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. I don't know him, Trump told me. Someone put him up there. I don't know who he is. And when I asked Trump about the comments about Puerto Rico, he did not denounce them, saying only that he did not hear them. Democrats saying the speaker at the rally was attacking Americans.
One guy called Puerto Rico, quote, an island of garbage. Now, these are Americans. They're people. And that is the reason why this election should not be close. It should be clear.
This comes as both campaigns battle for the critical Latino vote. There are about 500,000 Puerto Ricans here in Pennsylvania, more than in any other battleground state. Today, Trump at a roundtable in Drexel Hill, getting a show of support from Maribel Valdez, who says she moved from Puerto Rico in 1981.
And I want you to know that Puerto Rico stands behind you, and Puerto Rico loves you.
Well,
Oh, we love it. I know it very well. I think no president's done more for Puerto Rico than I have.
But here in Allentown, voters like Carlos Figueroa and his sister Yvette tell our Terry Moran Trump's rally struck a nerve.
So when you heard that joke, there's a floating island of garbage in Puerto Rico.
That's not a joke.
That's not a joke. How do you feel?
That's my sister. This is not a joke. We're not trash.
Yeah, we're not trash.
We're citizens as everybody up in here.
Exactly.
So we don't deserve to be called trash.
And David, late word tonight that the Supreme Court has rejected a push to remove Robert F. Kennedy Jr. from the ballot in two critical battleground states, Michigan and Wisconsin. Kennedy was trying to get off the ballot after he endorsed Donald Trump. The former president has a rally here in Allentown, Pennsylvania tonight, which has a large Puerto Rican community. And David, when I asked the former president about those comments made at his rally this past weekend, he would only say that he had not heard them. But some allies clearly concerned about how much damage this could cause with the election now just 1 week away, David.
Rachel Scott with us tonight on the Trump campaign in Pennsylvania. Rachel, thank you. The other developing story we're following, those alarming images from Atlanta tonight. A gunman barricaded himself inside a room on the 33rd floor at the Four Seasons in Midtown Atlanta, throwing objects off the balcony, then opening fire. Police telling people to shelter in place, SWAT teams evacuating floors above and below. And how this played out. ABC's Faith Abubey on the scene in Atlanta tonight.
Tonight, shots fired in Atlanta. Police swarming the busy Midtown area around 2 p.m. after a man reportedly pulled a gun on someone at the Four Seasons Hotel and Residences, barricading himself inside a residence on the 33rd floor.
Police were using drones at one point trying to find him, and we heard, I lost count, but I would say at least 24 gunshots at this point.
You see him throwing stuff over the balcony?
This video showing the suspect on that balcony throwing objects to the ground. The video cutting out as he opens fire. SWAT teams evacuating multiple floors, barricading the entire block, ordering people in neighboring buildings to shelter in place.
An officer just told me that the suspect threw one of his handguns off one of the hotel balconies.
By 4:35 p.m., heavily armed police seen wheeling the bloodied suspect to an ambulance on a stretcher, taken to the hospital in stable condition.
Near the end of this episode, he did wave his hands to give up, and as he was on his balcony to say, please come get him.
And David, tonight, one officer is being treated for non-life-threatening injuries, but remarkably, no other victims reported. David.
All right, Faith, thank you. Overseas tonight, the disturbing scene in northern Gaza, an Israeli airstrike leveling a 5-story building housing displaced civilians. More than 90 people have been killed, including children. One of the deadliest strikes in this war. ABC's Britt Clennett from Israel tonight.
Desperate scenes in North Gaza tonight after an Israeli airstrike destroyed a 5-story building housing displaced families. With just days to go and a deadline set by the Biden administration for Israel to improve the humanitarian conditions in northern Gaza or risk losing future military aid, this now one of the deadliest strikes of the war. The Hamas-run health ministry saying at least 93 Palestinians are killed, including at least 25 children. The situation in the north deteriorating for weeks. This girl standing with a dead body, shocked to be alive after another Israeli strike. And officials at one of Gaza's last functioning hospitals unable to treat the wounded after a deadly IDF raid. And tonight, global concern after the Israeli parliament voted to ban UNRWA, the UN aid agency for Palestinian refugees operating inside Gaza.
It poses risks for millions of Palestinians who rely on UNRWA for essential services. They play a role right now that at least today cannot be filled by anyone else.
Tonight, the State Department and the Pentagon saying if implemented, this move could violate U.S. law. David, the IDF have provided no comment on that deadly strike. The State Department calling it horrifying. David.
Britt Clennett from Tel Aviv tonight. Thank you, Britt. Back here in the U.S. outside New York City tonight, authorities are now investigating a murder in the Hamptons on Long Island. Police say the body of 33-year-old Sabina Rosas was found in a guest room at a high-end luxury spa resort in Watermill. No word on how she died. Tonight, the man convicted of attacking the husband of former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has been sentenced to life in prison without parole in a state trial. In 2022, David DePape broke into Pelosi's San Francisco home. As police arrived, he struck 82-year-old Paul Pelosi, her husband, with a hammer. DePape later admitted he was there looking to take the speaker hostage. She was in Washington at the time. DePape is already serving a 30-year sentence in federal prison for the incident. When we come back tonight, the Delta flight aborting takeoff, smoke pouring from the engine, and remembering tonight actress Teri Garr, her most famous roles from Young Frankenstein, Close Encounters, Tootsie, the actress in her own words right here tonight. Tonight, the FAA investigating a Delta flight aborting takeoff because of smoke pouring from the engine. The plane about to fly from Las Vegas to Atlanta. Smoke seen coming from the engine as it was speeding down the runway. Authorities say an issue with the engine caused excess fuel to burn off, and that's what it was. Tonight, the dramatic rescue of a father and two sons off Hawaii. Take a look, the Coast Guard responding to their mayday. The father and sons clinging to their capsized boat for about 5 hours. They were airlifted by a chopper back to shore. No one was hurt. When we come back tonight, the fires here in the Northeast, one of the driest Octobers on record, and nearly 80 degrees on Halloween in New York City. And tonight, remembering actress Teri Garr in her own words. To the index of other news and the growing concerns over wildfires, with the Northeast facing one of the driest Octobers ever. Firefighters in Massachusetts battling dozens of wildfires. Philadelphia, New York City, and Boston all looking at one of the warmest Halloweens on record with temperatures near 80. Tonight, the CEO of McDonald's apologizing for the deadly E. Coli outbreak. Dozens of people sickened in 13 states. One person died. CEO Chris Kempczinski saying the company is very sorry for what customers experienced, adding the outbreak linked to Quarter Pounders is now behind them. When we come back here tonight, celebrating actress Teri Garr, her famous roles, the actress in her own words here tonight. Finally tonight here, celebrating actress Teri Garr. Everything she was in, she made better, from Young Frankenstein to Close Encounters to Tootsie.
Hello.
Teri Garr was known for her deadpan comic timing and her offbeat roles. She starred in some of the biggest movies of her generation.
Now listen to me very carefully. Don't put the candle back.
Doctor, look.
There was Young Frankenstein in 1974.
Oh, Doctor, I'm frightened.
Her role as the German lab assistant opposite Gene Wilder.
Oh, Frederick, are you all right?
Over the years, revealing how she landed that iconic role.
I went in there, it was like my third callback, and he said, no, but if you can come back tomorrow with a German accent, I'll give you a chance at the lab assistant. I said, oh yes, of course I can come back tomorrow with the German accent. I could be here later today with the accent.
Beginning her career as a dancer, appearing in 9 Elvis Presley movies, including Viva Las Vegas. That's her all the way in the front left in the Stripes.
Come on everybody and turn your head to the right.
Dancing alongside Cher on Sonny and Cher.
Your chaps and go.
Her breakthrough role with Gene Hackman in Francis Ford Coppola's The Conversation.
I don't think you're listening to me when I'm talking on the telephone.
Opposite Richard Dreyfuss in Steven Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
I got it! What are you doing? I figured it out, that's all. We can just listen? No.
Hi, kids.
In Mr. Mom with Michael Keaton.
She's been wearing this shirt around the house for about 2 weeks now. Can walk around by itself.
I am a professional actress.
Earning an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actress opposite Dustin Hoffman in Tootsie.
I didn't bring enough money for camp.
That's okay. It's cheaper to get mugged. Let's walk.
For decades, Teri Garr was open about her battle with multiple sclerosis. She died at her home in L.A. today at 79, surrounded by family and friends. Tonight here, Teri Garr in her own words on her personal battle and her optimism.
I've been very, very lucky because I've had a very slow progression with this. If I've had it for 20 years, the MS. So I'm really very grateful, and I find it very important to keep an optimistic attitude and to, you know, I know it seems kind of Pollyanna, but I try to, you know, make the best of it.
Her optimism. Tonight, Mel Brooks paying tribute, saying her humor and lively spirit made the Young Frankenstein set a pleasure to work on. Her German accent, he said, had us in stitches. I'm David Muir. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.